perhaps, Mr. Chair, I should respond at this point to some of the issues because I am equally confused and very frustrated because we really thought we were trying our best to do what was right. Let us look back historically. We had a system. The PDAP system was there. It harmonized with CHED. We cooperated with we cooperated with the congressmen who were given their PDAP allotment, and we helped them distribute the scholarship grants in a way that was pretty much satisfactory. It may not have been a perfect system, but it was there. It was a system we worked with for many years. And then
we have to get on that because that is not a true. That is not the situation during the PDAP. The PDAP did not start the check. The PDAP went directly to the state university. So no, you have totally no intervention with the PDAP. Well, in my case, it has. I think most of all of us, because when we give our renew to the committee of session here, it was very clear. This
Committee of session.
We gave it to the state universities. There was no problem. And we thought there was no problem this time, even with the CHED, because there's no more PDAP. Then we can go to the CHED. But I will tell you that we submitted to the speaker last year. So this is not a post-intervention. Before the budget was approved, we already, the speaker gave you already our allocation. This is not correct. Because we gave our list last year on how to allocate the 14 million. You see? So anyway, let me continue, but I just tell you, there is mostly no intervention by CHED when PDAP. Why? Because our SARO, the SARO TV, goes directly to the schools, to the public.
Pag private school yung scholar.
So now, the only intervention is now. And we don't question that precisely because there's no more PDAP. It is through the CHED. And then we submitted allocation. So therefore, there's no such thing as post because this is submitted by the Speaker's office and the committee, the appropriations given to you before December. And so very clear na sa ito. That is why in the other departments, Madam Chairperson, in the other departments, na-download na. Ang DSWD, na-download na sa regional office, sa central office. Ang aming DOH, nasa hospital na. Nandiyan na lahat, wala tayong problema dyan. Now, bakit sa inyo, hindi pa na-download dito sa high schools? Which were submitted to you by Cherry long time ago.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, parliamentary inquiry.
Yes, what's the inquiry, Your Honor?
Ano po ba yung mga rulings natin pagdating sa ganitong klase ng executive session? Dahil pinalabas natin ng media kanina ng executive session ito, dahil baka mamaya hindi makalampas tayo dito ng sasabihin natin na hindi naman kagaya sa pagdinig ng iba nating mga kasama. Ay ano ba ang ating ruling dito? Baka mamaya paglabas diyan meron magpa-interview diyan. Na yun, pinipressure na naman ng mga congressman ng CHED. Ginigisa na naman ng CHED dahil hindi masunod sila. I think, Mr. Chairman, you should clarify to us the ruling.
This is an oversight committee hearing. So, it is inherent in the legislative powers of Congress that we can act as an oversight body, especially for funds that are also basically public funds. And again, I made it clear earlier that the legislative intent is very clear. Is that scholarships must go on.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, the confidentiality of executive session.
Well, of course, executive session, the rule is confidential talaga. Kung sinabi natin confidential.
What if a member of the Committee on Appropriation or the Oversight Committee or any of his staff after ng hearing lumabas at magpa-interview at dinivotes ko ano nangyayari dito, what will be the sanctions?
Well, pakiusapan na lang natin, since this is an executive session, dito na lang.
Bakit siya nakatingin sa'yo? Nga eh.
Takot ako dito.
Back to
Actually, there's no problem with Union 7 as of now. Our original director is very cooperative. Is original director Region 7. So far, cooperative naman. Nice. May confusion kami konti because, of course, when we try to limit our 14 million, our submissions to the 14 million loan, I know for a fact that other members of Region 7 cannot even occupy half of that. Like Secure, for example, or Congressman Capinero's district, for example. So I intentionally submitted more. And I don't know what the rules will be on how we will be using our money as a whole in the region, Mr. Chairman. However, if the case should be, we will be restricted to the 14 million, then I would respectfully request that on our next budget for 2015, this should be rectified so that I can accommodate the others. Secondly, on the whole scholars that were hit by the PIDAC, in which, I remember correctly, Congresswoman Armando was talking about the HEDF that we will be using to pay for the old scholars, the PIDAC, the pre-new scholars and the PIDAC was not yet declared legal. I would like to make sure that will be followed. Otherwise, again, Mr. Chairman, I would request that for the 2015 budget, it should be rectified. Our 2015 budget should make sure that this will be covered because I am sure that next year some of them will be graduating already. Yeah. And they will not be able to get the diplomas if they will not gonna get paid. Sir, that's all. Thank you.
Yes, we take that into consideration, Your Honor. So after Congressman Davis is
Sir,
Chairman.
yeah, I was in the middle of a thought, and then Congressman Rufus made a correction. Actually, I agree with you for the most part, that most of the PDAP was really direct, but we did handle some of it, some. But we had a system also of scholarships in CHED, a number of different types of scholarships. Okay, so what were some of the historical events that took place? Unexpected by, I think, your honors as well as us. We were taken quite a bit by surprise. The first was the TRO on the PDAP. And essentially, CHED is the bad guy here, but you have to give us the credit. When that happened, we immediately wrote all the SOOPs and said, please take in the PDAP scholars. If they were there for the first semester, keep them on. I'll make it good to you. It will be on me. I'll find the money, I'll pay you back. My expectation was that the Supreme Court would reconsider for health as well as scholarships, but we know that did not happen. So, even worse than a TRO, it was declared illegal. We consulted your honors because that is very frightening. Here we are, the PDAP is illegal, and in a way, you were working out a system where it would be realigned and given to us. Now, what are we supposed to do? We understood it to mean, and I know I don't have the refinements of whether it's oversight or whatever, but the fact is, my understanding is that what you used the term earlier, illegal post intervention. So in other words, you make the law, you don't implement it. That was also pointed out, not in those terms, but we had a previous encounter with the Commission on Audit. They had a very serious audit observation memo to us, report to us, that essentially the way we were handling some of the PDAP that came to us, as well as the congressional scholarships that we give out, was different from our usual scholarships, which followed the same set of CHED guidelines. So that was even before PDAP became an issue. We said, all right, in which case, we will make sure that the same guidelines prevail for all the scholarships that we handle, including the congressional ones. So, having already committed ourselves to that, when this happened, when the PDAP was illegal, then you presented and you realigned it to various agencies. We had to do the right thing. We did not want to do anything illegal. We did not want to get into trouble with COA. We did not want to go against very, very vociferous public opinion against PDAP. So our solution was, at that time, very clear. In my mind, I said the congressman will nominate, they can recommend. Of course, that is their right. They do that all the time. These are their constituents. They know the situation on the ground. I already had my script for the media when they would say, oh, maybe that pa rin, ano? And then you are what is the term for it? You are a collaborator, or you're doing the same thing. At any rate, I have to protect the agency. I have to protect the Aquino government. I have to make sure we play by the rules. And that was all settled. You would recommend, you would tell us exactly who your candidates were, and we would apply our guidelines. And so COA would have no complaints, and neither would Congressman Tino or anyone else who wants to squeal on you guys. So that's what we thought we were doing. But the system, I guess, takes time. Essentially, what was happening, I think, on the
I
ground,
object. That was
not
taken from the
everyone
record.
had, nominees for the
nandito
deadline.
sila, oh.
The other thing that Congresswoman Almario mentioned was that we were advertising and we were publicizing, which in a sense is true, in the sense that that's our duty. We have a lot of grants. We have to make this public. But in our adjustment already internally, we said priority would be given to the listahan of the congressmen. And then bahala na yan, no? And in fact, my instructions to the regional directors, please forgive them with whatever weaknesses they may have, but this was also sudden, and we are a lean organization. We really do not have the staff on the ground to handle all of a sudden this huge new allotment of scholars and a new system pa. Plus, we have to deal with COA and the legitimacy of no PDAP, but we have this allocation. So even they had difficulty understanding. Finally, I said, okay people, this is the way it just has to be. You know, I know it was supposed to be illegal, dapat wala na, but actually meron pa because they're also taken by surprise. And nagpakawa na rin ako. I said, the congressmen did not expect this. This is something they've had all of this time. Then all of a sudden they are told it is illegal. Now, what do you expect them to do? You know? So at any rate, I tried to get CHED to understand and the regional directors. However, there were some who already publicized now, that is true. And there are many people out there who really think, I now have 4.1 billion new scholarships. They don't think it's PDAP, they don't think it's going to you. And these are perfectly intelligent people. They say, wow, I will publicize in Sorsogon that, you know, you have all of these extra scholarships. And I'm supposed to tell them, no, don't do that, because actually the congressmen are all going to get it. No, so we have to go through this kind of semblance. We understand each other, and I really want us to cooperate. Now, with regard to your points, excuse me, Congressman Rufus, you have tremendously innovative programs, and I really like what you do. Unfortunately, they're a little exotic for our guidelines, which we are bound to follow. So how can we do that? How can we, finding guidelines guidelines, these are not new guidelines. There are old guidelines with just a few, in fact, a few changes that came from our interactions with Congress. They were the ones who put in some suggestions. We went through some public consultations, but we have to have one set of guidelines. That is what will protect us from being accused of being intimidated by the congressmen. Say, no, we're not intimidated, we're not whatever. We have guidelines, and as long as the guidelines are followed, you and I and the government is protected. That's the reason why you have to, I beg your indulgence, you have to respect and these guidelines. Now your programs, there must be a way where we can handle those, but to be very honest, Congressman Rufus, they're a little, you're an outlier. It's a little bit difficult to handle that. You're sending them to UP, they're going to medicine. For some, you pay all the transportation, you pay so many things. That's not in our guidelines. It's been very difficult to make that part of the guidelines. When guidelines, you try to find a common denominator, something that will accommodate as many as possible. So yours and a few others, the speakers, Congressman Rodriguez, they had, Congressman Gonzalez, you have rather exotic needs, which we said we will still try to solve. But unfortunately, our guidelines do not apply. Now, how is it? I cannot believe, Chair, that we are so bad that compared to, there are 5 agencies you downloaded to. How could Chair, that's what I'm asking my colleagues here, how could it be that everyone else is doing so wonderfully and accommodating and everyone loves them? And here, Chair is the only one na palpak? Paano naman nangyari yun? No? So that's, and I will, and I do. I have met our regional directors. How many times, Georgie? Maybe 5 times. We call them here every time. Sherry texts me and says, more problems, you know, these are the complaints, these are coming in. Someone, please bring them to Manila. Let's work this out, you know. And I know there are some that may be problematic, but for the most part, parang they seem to be already working. This morning we had another meeting, and I said, ano bang mga problema? One seems to be yung listahan ng congressmen do not complete their allotment. And so they're worried about losing that. So we have to find a solution, and maybe this thing of downloading to the SUCs. And if TBM will allow a trust fund, because TBM is quite against trust funds, to be quite honest. We're caught. Everyone is applying the rules on us, and we're trying to be obedient. But you can't follow all the rules at the same time, because the rules conflict. Okay, so that might be a solution. The other problem is sobra, because one, it's possible that our regional directors in their zeal already did their job before we told them what the restrictions were. That actually this is not true. You do not have 14 million per district na extra. This will really be for the congressmen. So they had already publicized it the way they normally do, and they have applications. So we said, well, we have to worry about that as well, kung may sobra. And the other one is your problem that you always bring out, the Congressman Unga, about priority courses. We've tried really to accommodate that within some flexibility, because we said, okay, may priority courses na ang CHED. However, each regional director has the prerogative to expand it 3%. 3%, yeah. So, keep that in mind. So I just beg the group to try and come out with a practical solution. I tell you, I do not have an attitude problem here. I am really trying. And I'm a reasonably competent person. I'm a reasonable manager. How am I failing here when I am also dealing and accepting the political reality that this is data, that we are just changing for this transition year. You have all said, next year, diretso na kami. We are go, and again, when we are negotiating, they say, next year, di na sa CHED yan. Ang salamat, sabi ko. Ang salamat. Talaga. Because it really so much. It is a